Alright, we're rolling. So let's see. Just gotta make sure everything's going on correctly. I gotta just do my link on my Facebook page that nobody's gonna click. And let's see. Delete this. Make my Facebook link. Ooh, and the title is correct this time. Alright. Oh, geez. People are talking about nobody's talking about it. Whatever. Alright, so, we're going. I did my link. It's time to roll the title credit thing. Roll the film.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Okay.
You know what? I don't know. This was probably months or maybe even a year ago, but my brother was constantly getting on my case about timing how long it takes me to do animation. So if somebody ever wanted to hire me to do animation, I would have a realistic idea about how long things take to animate, and I was always, I don't know, I just didn't do it. But this kind of is taking care of that process. But I doubt anybody's ever going to pay me to do this. I was thinking about maybe doing like... Wait a minute, what's going on here? Okay. I just wasn't sure if I was doing a half, an in-between animation or a quarter of the way in animation, or frame, rather. But anyway, I was thinking about maybe doing, like if a comedian wanted me to animate their set, I would do that for a small fee. But I'm not sure if that's a good idea. I mean, it might be fun to just have an animated version of you doing your comedy set. But why wouldn't you just film it? I mean, if you were gonna have a comedy set animated, it seems like you would want the things you were talking about to be on the screen while you were talking about them, and that would make the animation process a lot more complicated. Like if you just wanted me to animate you on a stage talking, that would be pretty easy, and I could do that for a pretty cheap price. But if you wanted me to do like, I'm talking about ducks now I want to see ducks, like I want the shot to cut away to a park where ducks are, and then have the ducks do the thing that I'm saying that they're doing, like that would make the process much more complicated. Because as you can tell, if you've been watching these things, this takes a hell of a long time. Like I've been working on this one shot that lasts, let's see, what's 64 divided by 12. Let's see, that's 20, like 23. Wait a minute, that's not right. So let's see, 12, that's 1 second. 24 is 2 seconds. 36 is 3 seconds. 48 is 5 seconds. 60 is 6 seconds. So it's like I've been working on a 6-second animation for like 10 hours now. But I don't know, it really depends. Like if a comedian wanted me to animate a comedy set and have like the cutaway to a different scene, I feel like we just have to have a conversation about what needed to be done, and then I could at least have an idea of how long it would take me. Like just a character. Okay, let's assume that this animation is going to, I'm going to finish this in this animation in this hour-long episode. I'm going to finish it. So that would mean I animated 2 characters walking halfway across the screen. I mean, it's a little bit more than halfway across the screen because they turned and walked forward, so it's a little bit longer than that. But I animated 2 characters, and it's about taking me 10 hours to do that, assuming I finish it in this episode. So that means it would take me 5 hours to animate 1 character walking about that distance. And I didn't even do the background in this. I'm not even talking about the background. So that's a lot of time. I mean, if I just drew the background of a stage and had a comedian talking, and that was valuable to somebody, you know, I might be able to, might do that. Like if that was if the person's just talking with a few hand gestures, maybe pose changes, and it took me about 5 hours, that's like $10 an hour if I charge them $50. I feel like that's not too bad. I'm not going to turn my nose up at $10 an hour. Wait a minute. Did that make sense? No, because because a comedy set is not necessarily the same as, it's not the same thing as like animating mouth movements is not the same as having a character walk across the screen. So what would that be? I'd have to figure it out when have to figure out how long it takes me to draw a background. Unless I just sculpted a 3D comedy stage, which is something I've been thinking about doing anyway. And then I could just take a picture of that 3D set and use that for the background. As long as the person wanted to use the 3D model as the background, and all I had to do was animate the mouth movements and maybe some hand gestures and whatnot, I might be able to do that in less than 5 hours. I don't know, it depends. I'd have to, maybe I'll just figure out which comedy, like if there's a comedy set that I have myself that I want to burn, I could animate that and time how long it takes me to do it, and then I could use that as a frame of reference about how much to charge comedians if they wanted to pay me to do that. But I feel like there's certain comedians that I really like that I just wouldn't feel right charging them. Like if it's a comedian that that I find to be really funny and that I look up to and that I feel like I've learned things from, I'd probably just, if they wanted me to do that, I'd probably just do it for free. Because it's like, I don't know, as an artist, I feel like most of society just shits on artists and disrespects artists and treats us like we're garbage and treats us like we're like the things that we're working on for, like years or decades is worthless and not worth being paid for. And it's just like, if there's a comedian that I admire that I would that wanted me to animate something that was pretty easy and it wouldn't take a whole lot of time out of my life, I might just do that for free. But I mean, this does take a long time to do. So I mean, I'd have to be very, discerning in the choices that I made about what I'm going to be doing for free and what I'm not going to be doing for free. And hopefully it wouldn't be insulting to people if I had to charge for animation, because it's like, my time is valuable to me, and I don't know, I feel like artists are often very prideful, and their feelings are hurt easily, and it's not like, I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. But I don't know, maybe nobody even wants me to do that, so maybe I'm just overthinking. I mean, Pat Oates, I'm doing this cartoon for free because Pat Oates, I find him to be funny, and he also does a lot for artists. Wait a minute, did I do this frame right? He does a lot for artists in Connecticut, and I feel like I need to move this. He does a lot for artists, and he has like a reach. Like, he does a podcast. He has an extensive voice that it's like to do things for him for free they're just a good business move, I think. I mean, I don't know, it just extends my reach a little bit. I don't know. I don't know anything about business, but it just feels like it might be smart to help people who can expand your voice. I don't know, what do I know? Nothing. Where am I? But anyway, I might be willing to do some quick work for comedians that I respect. For hopefully, if it's not too complicated, for like, I don't want to charge people too much, but I'll have to figure it out when I'm a little less tired and my head is a little bit clearer. I do want to make some sort of animated public access TV show at some point, and just have like comedians contribute. But I need to figure out the details, and I need to finish this cartoon at least. This is episode 1 of a cartoon series that I've been trying to finish. But if I did make a variety show, I don't even know if variety show is the correct word for what it would be, but if I did make a public access show, I'm thinking like one of the episodes would be on each episode of the show, and then there'd be a bunch of KR47 shorts. Because like, if you just watch a bunch of KR47 cartoons, they don't flow very well. It's just like one little sketch after another, and then you'd need something in between them. And this story that Pat wrote has more. It's more engrossing. It's more. Let me just think about this foot for a second so I don't do anything stupid. Like, it just holds your attention a little bit longer. Like those KR47 sketches, me and my friend Rob wrote them, and we were just beginning to think about writing sketches, I guess, or at least I was. I don't know how long Rob was thinking about writing sketches, but if I had like an animation that somebody else wrote and they'd thought about it and had a little bit more experience, like, I feel like if I was gonna do an animation for a comedian, it would have to be a comedian that has been doing it for a couple of years at least. in order for me to invest my time in like putting all that time into, you know, the tediousness of drawing all this stuff. I just lost my train of thought again because I'm dumb. In any case, if I was going to do that public access variety show, I would, I don't know, the KR47 cartoons would not be enough to just make it happen by itself, so it'd be in my interest to work with stand-up comedians and have them write things. And like maybe, newer comedians could submit things, but I don't know. There wouldn't be a guarantee that I would animate them. Like, they could submit it and maybe I'd look at it and decide for myself, or maybe they could just team up with a person who has been doing comedy, because I'd feel like I'd trust a comedian who's been doing this for 3 or 4 years more than I would trust a comedian who had been doing it for 1 year. Because I don't know, when I wrote the original KR47, I'd never done comedy, but they were my own ideas, and I had the ability, so I had the ability to animate. So I mean, it's pretty much my decision what I animated. But if I'm gonna be using my time and abilities to help a different person, I kind of want them to be reliable in that they write things that people like, and I guess that's it. I feel like that might be a good policy. Like, if I do start this project where I work on sketches that are written by comedians, I'll just be like, okay, you can work by yourself if you've been doing comedy for, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years or more. But if you've been doing less than that, I would like you to team up with somebody who's been doing it 3 or 4 more years, or been doing it 3 or 4 years or more. Or maybe if you just team up with somebody else who can critique you, and you work as a team, and I don't know, maybe a person who's been doing comedy for a year is fully capable of writing a sketch that's funny. I guess I'd have to see. Like, I don't want to prejudge anybody. I'm just trying to, like, you know, I just don't want to waste my time. Like, I don't want to... It's just that it takes a lot of time to do this, and I just want to make good decisions about what I'm doing. I want to do the most effective thing. But for all I know, maybe nobody even wants me. Nobody's even interested in my animation. That's probably a realistic thought. But I don't know. People do approach me and say that they'd be interested in working on something. So I mean, it's at least mildly interesting to some people. Alright, Dan, focus on what you're doing, you freaking jerk. delete. Do I need to delete this line? Maybe this line will look good. Yeah, it's not too bad. I'm starting to get into that part of the live stream where my voice is just raspy and dry. Do I like the way this looks? Looks not too bad, I guess. Let's see how it looks with the other character. Not terrible. Alright, so let's see, I need to start thinking about the surprise squash and stretch. So let's see, with this character, the squashing happens so these two frames should be, I gotta stop drinking while I'm animating, because sometimes I'm like, okay, I need to solve a difficult problem, and then it's like I'm drunk. Alright, so this frame should be like a stretched out. Actually, you know what? Where does the squash down happen? The squash down happens on this frame. How to deal with this? I feel like I'll animate these two in-betweens based on this size. I'll use this frame as the settling. Because this character, like the Corey character with the long hair that's based on me, is like he's settled. Like this whole block is just one picture. There's no movement here. And that's kind of like the resolution frame. Maybe I'll use this as the resolution frame. I'll put that like that. And then I'll have like I'll draw a frame here that's a version of this but more exaggerated, and stretched out, and then these two frames will squash down to this. So let's see, how can I do this? Let's save it before I start monkeying around with it. What time am I at? I'm at 25 minutes. So let's do the face first. In red. Sorry for burping. I'm just drinking soda with rum in it, and I'm just like, I don't know, if I'm drinking, sometimes I'm like, I love you, man, and I get all weird and sentimental. see. I don't know if I... Wow, it's weird that I just, I drew that off center. Yet, it still kind of looks, it's still lined up almost perfectly with the other frame. You know what? Maybe I will, I'll draw it pretty much similar. And then I'll squish it. Let's get rid of these white lines, because this is the squash down frame. These white lines will appear on the stretched out frame. Come on, Dan, get your head out of your A. Maybe I'll make, maybe that's something I need to do over the weekend, or I mean over the next couple of days, is just to, study some squashy and stretchy animations, like I was saying a few episodes ago, if the audio, because I know, like on the first episode, for some reason the audio didn't even pick up until like 35 minutes in, but I was at one of these episodes I was saying that there are certain cartoons that are just really good at squashing and stretching, and Tiny Toon Adventures and Animaniacs were very squashy and stretchy, depending on who the animator was. Like there was one animator who was really good at it, and I felt like the episodes were really good when that animator was there and his characters were all rubbery. And then there was another animator that was just not as good, and his characters looked really rigid, and I didn't really like, and for some reason it seemed like the writing always seemed to correspond, like the rigid guy, they gave the good writing to the squashy stretchy guy, I find, and the bad writing, like the subpar episodes, they always gave to the rigid guy. But I don't know, maybe that's something I need to do, is study, just study that, maybe episodes of that show, and maybe it'll make my animation a little bit better. Because I feel like my characters suffer from being a little too rigid sometimes. Alright, so let's see. So I think it's tall enough. I think I'm just going to squish it a little bit. Scale. Scale. What the hell? How does this look? Looks pretty good, I think. I like it. I'm just gonna... Let's make the white lines again for this guy. How about a little consistency, Dan? You jerk. Alright, so let's see. I'm gonna save that. Okay, so wait a minute. What did I just do? Oh, because the keyframe... Okay. I remember saying that the keyframe here was the squash frame. I'm gonna make a note of that so I don't forget and I'm not confused a minute ago. I mean, a few minutes later. Squash was keyframe. Cause I'm gonna be confused in a minute. Alright, so now I'm gonna do the in-between frames for this stretched frame, and they're gonna resolve back into this frame. What does it say? When doing the other character, you moved this to the right and put a squash antic in its place. Yeah, that makes sense. I basically just wrote the note that I wrote here again in stupider, drunken or language. Alright, I need to just shoot myself. Alright, I'm gonna save this. Get to work, Dan. Quit flapping your gums. Alright, so that's the stretched one. Let's just make it red. Come on, Dan. Get your line. Line's the appropriate thickness. So let's see. Wait a minute. What's going on here? How did I get on this frame? What did I hit the wrong button or something? Maybe I looked back and then I forgot to hit the button to look forward again. I kind of meant this stream to show people like what it's like to animate something, and I'm kind of starting to think that maybe it's the only value it has is to show people what not to do. Don't be a drunken idiot who rambles about moronic things when you're animating. There's no line here. Alright, so let's see. What the hell? Come on, Dan. Get it together. Hitting the wrong buttons. This is where I need to be. What the hell is going on? What is on this frame right here? Okay. Let's move this to a different frame so I don't confuse it for an actual drawing. I just made a note. So this is the... okay. Get on the right frame, stupid. I did that. Just make that red so I can keep track of it a little bit better. Alright, we're not doing too bad. Alright. Time are we at? 39 minutes. Can I finish this cartoon in 20 minutes? I don't really want to rush it. I don't want to do a bad job. Come on, Dan. Motor skills. I think I'm done with this drawing. I'm gonna make this blue, and then I'll just... actually, maybe red stands out a bit more against the colored image. Alright, might as well do this one in blue then. And this is a nice easy in-between. 50% drawing. gotta remember not to whistle. What is interesting that's going on that I can talk about? Anything? Nothing's really interesting going on in my life. I mean, apart from the fact that I'm looking for some land to build a tiny house on. That's affordable for me, a cheap, starving artist piece of garbage. I feel like if I can find a piece of land for, you know, that's pretty cheap and that has connection to city sewer and water, I might be able to have a little tiny house built. But if it needs a septic tank, I can't afford that. That's like an extra $10,000, and that would put me well out of the range of what I can afford. But if I can find a nice, quiet, rural, country neighborhood with where my neighbors are not anywhere near me, then that would be ideal for me. But I don't know if it's even realistic, because if I could do that, that would be great, because I could play drums whenever I wanted. I wouldn't have to deal with the police being over at my neighbor's house all the time like they are here. I wouldn't have to be paying $600 worth of rent to the man every month. I feel like that would improve my life infinitely if I could just have a quiet place where I could just work on an art project and not be bothered by crazy people all the time. People who want to argue with you and tell you that they're better than you and you're evil. Or they just want to, like, they don't want to have a conversation, they want to debate with you and win. Like, put that person in his place, I won. Do I get any social points for winning against this in a debate? Like, I don't really want to debate anybody. I don't like debates. I think debates are fucking stupid. Like, if you're going around wanting to get into a debate, you don't care what the person has to say. You don't care about listening to other people. I feel like you should go into conversations with the assumption that maybe this person can teach you something that you didn't know. Like, I feel like you should always have. I probably say this too many times, but I feel like when you're talking to people, you should have the frame of mind that I might teach this person something, and I also might learn something from this person. And I'm not perfect. Sometimes I get defensive, and then I'm just like more combative than I should be. But I feel like if my brain is operating at its best, then if I'm talking to somebody, it's because I might have information that they could learn from, and they might have information I could learn from. But I feel like there are too many debaters out there. You just want to, like, put you in your place and beat you in a contest of wits. And you know what? If that's the way you think, fuck you. Because, I mean, if we're just having a conversation because it's a contest of wits, well, that doesn't even matter. Who gives a shit about that? You beat me in a contest of wits. Good job. Now what? You get to go home and pat yourself on the back. I don't know, I just feel like people should want to have conversations because they're interested in the world, and like they should be humble and not assume that they know everything. It's like I'm a Republican. I'm gonna put these liberals in their place, or vice versa. Whew. Come on, Dan, get your stuff together. Alright. Ugh. Look at that. Line consistency! It's my biggest animation problem, is that I'll draw one thing with thick fat lines, and then I'll draw one thing with really thin lines. Like I just... Jeez, Danda, you listen to yourself? You friggin' jerk. Hopefully the squash down works. I'm just going to keep the shoes a little bit. Maybe I'll make them a little bit squashier. Alright, so let's see. This should be here. This is the squash down frame. Did that work? Let's make this frame invisible. Wait, which one is the... Where's this one? Where's this? When doing the other character, you move this to the right and put a squash antic in its place. Okay, I don't need this anymore. I feel like it works. It's just that, I mean, when they're together, it sort of emphasizes each other's movements. I'm going with it. What's this? Squash was the keyframe. Okay, so I did the squash down in the correct place. I don't need this anymore, so I'm going to delete that. So now I just need to do 2 normal frames of this character walking forward, and I don't really need... Might as well save it before I start monkeying around with it. How am I going to do this? So I'm going to move these frames out of the way, and they're locked. So this is the normal default height without the squashing or the stretching. So I'm going to use this as a guide frame. So if I put the onion skin way over there. Alright, I should be able to do this without issue. Let's make a little, just mashing buttons that have no relevance. Alright, so let's see. So wait, what time is it? So I have about 8 minutes before I should probably end the episode. And then I gotta pee! So let's see. What was this character doing at this frame? He's looking kind of slightly to the side, but for the most part maybe I should do this frame first. Let me think about this before I jump into it. Yeah, Corey's arms don't really move that much. So I kind of have to take into consideration that how do I want to do this? So let's make these. I'm gonna draw this frame. I'll just have to stay focused on what I'm doing. No, these eyebrows are going this way. So he's kind of looking right before the squash down. He's just kind of like his head is drifting over in that direction. And then, so alright, I think I got this. I'm just gonna have it lean toward the final resting pose after the squash and stretch. So let's see. The arms at this point should be moving up to that jazz hands pose. God damn it, Temple of Doom. I love you, Temple of Doom soundtrack, but whistling just doesn't sound good on a live stream. No offense. Soundtrack. So let's see. Let's make a couple of crinkles in his sleeve so the joint, it looks like it's about there. Huh. So this foot should be firmly planted in this next frame. And then this foot should be about to step here. Does that make sense in this? Let's take a look at it. Not too bad. I like it. I like it. So let's see. I think we can move all these back up. Stop it. And then I just gotta do 1.5 drawing. How much time do I have? 59 minutes. Should I think I'm gonna pause it. I'm gonna stop it here, and then I'm gonna go take a bathroom break, and then I will do another video where I finish this one last frame, and then I color this in, and then I'll figure out what I'm gonna do after that. Because maybe I feel like I should go to. I don't know if I want to animate until 2 a.m. this time. I certainly want to. I'd rather be doing something productive. Maybe I'll try to go like for an hour, but not too much farther than 1 a.m. because I feel like I might be able to go to sleep if I stop around then. But I don't want to just be so awake that I'm gonna waste time on computer games or anything like that. Alright, I'm gonna stop it, and then I will finish this drawing, and then I'll do the coloring, and then I'll try to figure out what I'm gonna work on next, because this shot is just about done once I color it in. Actually, I can I'll do the masking. I'll show you. I'll talk about that. Alright, so let's see. I'm gonna make a note that says mask. Period, 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 period. Just like the 1990s, 80s cartoon show. Alright. I'll be right back. Cool. See you later.